Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cryptic Commander. We are your hosts. I'm John Nose,
MTG Peddler.
I'm Slothy.
and we have a special guest with us from Twitch, Squachief. Squachief, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks. Glad to be here.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Well, welcome aboard, Squad Chief. Glad to have you here too, bud.
proudly,
Good to have you.
proudly sponsored by North Valley Games, where you can go over to northvalleygames.com and save some cheddar. The cards are affordable. That not only do they sell singles like I'm showing on YouTube, they've got sealed product, very affordable. You can even save more cheddar using the promo code TCC2021 at checkout. And they have a new program where they buy your singles, get 10% more cash by using the code TCC2021. It also help kick back and help the podcast. We partnered with Unstable Realms YouTube channel. So Card of the Week is actually brought to you by Unstable Realms YouTube channel. And this week's Card of the Week is Primeval Titan. 1 second, I'm going to pull it up.
Such preparation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Zoom because I'm blind. It costs 2 green, 4 other. It's a creature giant with trample, 6/6. Whenever Primeval Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you may search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them in the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. The flavor text reads, "When nature calls, run." What do you guys?
Also, coming in at mythic rarity too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for mythic rare. Yeah. What do you guys think about this card?
This card is insane. Especially if you compare it with like an Amulet of Vigor. You can just get so much value so quickly.
To me, it almost seems like a I win more card. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that's just so much ramp. It's like if you're already ahead, if you're already ahead, you're just gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when these guys came out too, like they had a Titan for each color, right? And I remember the Sun Titan was highly used, and the black one was highly used. This one was highly used too. I mean, I think they all were used, but I remember you seeing the black one and the white one a lot more than this one.
Yeah.
In the tournament play when it comes to competitiveness. I mean, nowadays we're going to be using Euro, right? Was it legal? Wait, depends on what we're playing, right?
It's still legal in Commander.
Is it legal in Commander? Oh, there you go.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't have much.
And also Primeval Titan's getting that sweet old school frame treatment in Time Spiral Remastered.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Really, really sweet looking. I'm a sucker for the old frames. Honestly, it takes me way back.
Yeah, they're so nice to see.
And I like the fact that they're printing like all these cards, all these modern cards in the old frame. That's a nice touch on it. I like it.
Yeah.
1 second here. Peddler, you got some news about Time Spiral.
I do. Allocation issues is currently on the agenda because when I get all my stuff, I work through an affiliate directly through a distributor. And last week I got an email saying, we can't get you boxes. And I was like, what? And so I made some calls, and it seems like there's going to be some severe allocation cuts across the board. And even like the bigger suppliers are not immune. Like currently Card Kingdom has a 5-box maximum for orders if you go through Card Kingdom, which is pretty surprising because, if you think anyone's going to have it, it's going to be the big guns. It's going to be, your Card Kingdom. It's going to be Star City Games. It's going to be those big guns. And if they're putting restrictions on it, it's going to be even worse at the LGS level. And I also noticed, like, if I feel like this is going to be a consistent issue with all ancillary products. And by ancillary, I mean, not, standard legal sets that come out. Because if you look back, look at 3 out of the past 4, Jumpstart, Commander Legends, now Time Spiral. Every single one is having allocation issues. So what that's telling me is, when Modern Horizons 2 comes out, everyone better have a game plan. Because I feel like that's going to be the exact same problem. I think that's like quarter 3, quarter 4 for Modern Horizons 2.
I touched base a while back because we like to cover the news on the podcast, and there was a company called AB Distributing or something, or ABC, and they were one of the big ones, and they cut ties with Wizards of the Coast, and I knew that was going to really hurt the chain, and other things too, like what's going on with World today, that's affecting the market too, in distribution.
Absolutely. I think all the big companies, including Wizards, is still adjusting to that. It's like, how do you make sure everyone's, working 6 feet apart and you're trying to make millions of cards? There's a lot of moving parts to releasing a Magic set, and it all requires people, a lot of people. So there's just so much restriction now with what's going on. I definitely foresee this being a problem as long as we live in this current environment.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add on to that, Peddler?
Oh my God, I have so much to add. I mean, on a personal, kind of like a gut feeling I have is I feel like this product is going to take to the same flight in price as Commander Legends did, especially the collector's boxes. Remember how they all jumped up because they were so scarce and so hard to find? Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like that this is a sealed product you're going to see move upwards very, very, very quickly, especially with the price point that I'm seeing, because that's another thing with Time Spiral Remastered. They actually just released pre-order pricing on Card Kingdom, and I hope you guys are sitting, because if not, you guys might be falling over. Listen to some of these prices for the foil cards. Foil Thoughtseize, one of the time shifted cards, is pre-ordering $400. Chalice of the Void is $300. Ponder is $300. Abrupt Decay is $100. And I mean, like, there's 121 time shifted cards total. 42 of them are currently pre-ordering at over $50. What do you guys think about that?
That's insane.
And yeah, those 2 words pretty much sum it up. That is insane. And to me, that just means that this seal product is only going to go up. Mm-hmm. And also, another side thing that I'm noticing too is Card Kingdom is accepting pre-orders for non-foil variants of all these cards. So, if you wanted to pre-order, your your Thoughtseize, you can spend $60 and they'll send you a Thoughtseize on release day. They are not currently taking pre-orders on foils. So that means to me is they're expecting the allocation issues that are pretty well known now, and B, they're not opening this product, so these cards are going to be scarce.
Yeah, they're going to be very few and far between.
Because I think the ratio, I read this, I believe it was in a Star City Game article is where I read this. It's one foil time shifted card per 27 packs, so you're looking at roughly 1.1 a box. So you might get lucky in a box and get 2, or you might get a 0 box where you get 0 foils of these, but the average is going to be about 1. So these things are going to be hard to find. I'd say this is probably the closest thing to a chase card that we've seen since the Invocations and the Inventions.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were talking earlier, me and you, Peddler, that you had, this is a better chance than, what was it, Kaladesh?
Oh yeah, like Kaladesh with the Inventions and the Invocations in what was that one? Amonkhet.
Yeah.
Like they were averaging, I think, 1 for every 6 boxes. So it was like 1 per case. You would get one of these like masterpiece cards. So in theory, if you're getting 1 of these per box, in theory, like I said, you're still very capable of getting none. but let's say for each box you're going to get one. You got a 33% chance of snagging a $50 card. I like those odds. I like those odds a lot. I wish I did the math to see how many cards are actually above $100 right now. You guys talk among yourself. I'm going to count real fast.
I think this is good and bad. Bad for the average player, but good for the collector, because these chase cards, I see it hard for them to reprint these time shifted cards in a different set. So it's going to be, if you want a time shifted Thoughtseize, this is the only set you're going to be able to get it. So you look like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, these boxes, especially because they're scarce, they're going to skyrocket as time goes by.
Yeah, I agree fully. And I just did the math. It's 11 cards. 11 time shifted cards are currently going over $100. So you basically have a 10% chance of getting a $100 card out of your box. That's not bad. Boxes are, I think, what are they still pre-selling at? Are they still at 200, or they start creeping up yet because of all these?
Right now on Card Kingdom, they're 209.
209. So I believe that's a slight upward trajectory. I think I was looking at it a couple of days ago and it was at 200 flat. So if it's already seeing upward momentum, that's kind of scary if you haven't pre-ordered yet. But if you have a 1 in 10 shot at getting a $100 card, that's half your box in one card.
Yeah,
I'll roll those dice. I am rolling those dice. I have a case coming in.
Sounds like gambling to me. Peddler, you got anything else on Time Spiral, or you want to go ahead and we've got Historic Anthology 4 news.
We do have Historic Anthology 4. So if we're all done with Time Spiral, I'll move on to that. So
unless Corey,
please.
Corey, did you want to add on anything to that?
I just want to say, if you look at Jumpstart and you look at Allosaurus Rider, where it's just a rare in the set and it's still going for 100 because of the scarcity of the product, I think it's going to happen again with Time Spiral, which is scary and exciting at the same time.
Very, very scary and very exciting though. I think it's going to be a blast to open. I think you're going to see some like wild videos of unboxings where people get 2 huge cards out of a box, and it's going to really whet people's appetites to get the products. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Is there a collector's edition for it?
There is not. It is only sold in draft packs, which is kind of nice because then you know what I mean. It's refreshing having, I only have to buy one product.
I like that a lot, actually.
I like that too, but it's short-lived, obviously, because Strixhaven's going right back into collectors and sets and draft boxes and commander decks and this and that and this and that and this and that. So we get like a month break from the onslaught of not even just products, but like individual products or products within an individual set. So it's a nice little break, I think.
Yeah. I always hated buying a regular box, and then if I would have spent another 100 for the collector booster, what you pull and like the estimated value goes way up in comparison. It just feels bad buying a regular box when that option is there.
Yeah, I'll only buy a regular draft box for my channel. If I can't get a collector's box too early, that's when I'll spend the $90 and I'll get a draft box. But other than that, I won't touch them just because of the EV. It's just so low compared to the collector's boxes. All right, so moving on, Historic Anthologies 4. This is going to be an arena, some arena news. So basically, what this is, beginning March 11th, you can purchase the complete Historic Anthology 4 in Arena. It is solely for the historic format, which is non-rotating, and it adds 25 cards into your historic pool. The bundle costs 4,000 gems or 25,000 gold, and it's available for purchase between March 11th, 2021 and June 10th, 2021. But if you purchase the bundle within that time frame, you can use your wild cards of the appropriate rarity to get the cards after the event is over. So you'll always be able to get these cards if you purchase the bundle. Now, some of the more notable cards that are being released is Torment of Scarabs, Faith of the Devoted, Inspiring Sanctuary, Abomination of Llanowar, Sword of Body and Mind, Think Twice, Blink Moth Nexus, and Death's Shadow. So they definitely have a lot of options there if you're looking to build up your historic deck a little bit more in Arena. Any of you guys play historic on Arena?
I do. Every once in a while.
Yeah, I played it quite a bit.
I have not. So I only play standard, and I primarily draft on Arena. So I am like, it sounds awesome if I play historic. I don't, but it sounds cool.
I do want to move over to something real quick, news related wise. With Wizards of the Coast having a new logo, I'm sure many of you guys have noticed there's actually a new division. So Hasbro makes a division specifically designed for Wizards of the Coast, and the tradition of Wizards of the Coast into the division of Hasbro comes after Wizards booked a record-setting 2020. In fact, last year Wizards' best year ever, in which they generated $816 million in revenue, 23% year-over-year increase from 2019. CEO Chris Cox revealed in his segment of the investor event, quote, "This was led by record-breaking year for Magic, up 23%, and D&D up 33%, Cox said, end quote. Our Hasbro digital licensing business grew 17% year of year, and combined with Wizards, the segment totaled $907 million in revenue last year."
I got news for Mr. Cox. This has nothing to do with the increase of Magic being played. I believe this has everything to do with the absolute abundance, the deluge of products they're churning out, and the fact that they are making high-end products now. I mean, think of a collector's box costs roughly twice the amount as a draft box, roughly. It doesn't cost them any more money to make a collector's box of Magic cards. So they're literally doubling their profits and spending the same amount to make the same product. I love collector's products. Those are, like I said, those are the only products I buy. But they are very expensive, and they don't cost the company anything else to make. So I would be shocked if they did not have a banner year last year.
Okay. Chief, if anybody's listening to you right now for the first time, hearing about you, how do they find you?
I'm on Twitch and YouTube, both at squachief, SQUA, and then Chief. I stream Monday to Saturday from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then I'll either be playing Modern, Pioneer, or Historic, and then just a little bit of Limited at the moment.
Very cool. Always fun to watch people play. I enjoy it.
I'll tell you what, guys, I go around Twitch and I watch a lot of different streamers, and it doesn't matter if it's a small following or a big following. I watch a lot of content creators,
I honestly like this. I love the small channels, honestly. I feel like the smaller channel, the more heart they put in it.
Well, there's a lot.
Absolutely.
They talk to you. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different size ones, man. I'll tell you, there's big ones and small ones. I like them all.
Much Magic content is phenomenal.
Now, we want to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back after that. All right, guys, welcome back. And Peddler, you have movers and shakers this week.
I do. In fact, we're going to start out today with Forsaken Monument. It is currently at $5, trending down slowly. Next is Rings of Bright Hearth, $5.49, again trending down slowly. And also True Name Nemesis, which is currently at $8.65, and that is trending down slowly because of its upcoming reprint in Time Spiral Remastered. All three of those are down roughly a quarter. 25 cents, not a quarter percent, but or 25%, but a quarter price. So 25 cents from last week. Now, biggest movers on the upward trend, we have number 4, Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, $99.95. That is a 47% increase.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's up there. We got some big boys up there. Number 3, Cabal Coffers, $85.99, up 7.5%. Then, hang on, my computer's scrolling very slowly for some reason. Number 2, Samurai of the Pale Curtain, $5.75. That is up 387%. So big old jump there for the Samurai. And at number 1, we have Essence Flux, $3.33, which is up 446%.
Wow.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, we definitely got some movers and shakers today, and I was surprised to see just how high Cabal Coffers has gotten. I haven't really been monitoring. I think the last time I looked at it was closer to that
this week on Magic the Gathering
$65,
Arena
$70
News
range.
Premier Draft is almost over. January 28th through April 15th. Hold on, that's over with. Yeah, okay. Quick Draft, February 26th. Hold on. February 26th through March 12th. And that's Theros Beyond Death. Festival Tales of Kaldheim, March 6th through March 9th. That's pre-constructed. F&M at Home Historic, March 12th through March 13th. That's historic. Festival Historic Artisan, which is March 13th through March 16th, and that's Historic Artisan. Back to you guys.
Very cool.
Slothy, we've got a couple questions for you, and I know you've got some news for us, but I got a couple questions for you, if we can, before you get into what you've got news-wise.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get my notes. Okay, so Corey, do you play Commander or EDH?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. Would you consider yourself to be an expert?
Oh no, this is
Right.
Nope.
We have our resident expert with us right now, Slothy. So I'd like you two to meet. And so Slothy, we got some questions for you here. Now you got to remember that no question is goofy, right? As long as the question, right? The question is asked is the question that's not asked is goofy. So now we got one that's even for me when somebody else brought up this question. So I wrote this down immediately. When it comes to Commander, is it best if I keep my Commander in the same sleeve as the rest of my deck? Because one guy had a question of when it goes into a deck and this and that, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I haven't been into many Commander games yet, but I've noticed it's always been in the Commander zone, and it goes with counters. Is there something I'm missing here? Because I play with mine with a different colored sleeve.
With that, it's just kind of up to you. Sometimes it's nice to play with a different color sleeve just in case you accidentally shuffle it in at the end of a game, but I personally don't usually do that, just because it looks more uniform if it's all together, and then you can't see if it's coming if you do have to shuffle it into your library.
That was actually a question I had, because doesn't the command zone trigger happen before any put it in the library triggers?
When it changes zone, you can choose to put it to the command zone versus into your library.
Correct.
See, I've been playing Brawl on the Magic the Gathering Arena, and it asks me if I want to put it in the command zone or if I want to put it in the deck or my hand is in that. And I always choose command zone because it just puts the counters on there and I can recast it later. So it would make sense that it would be your choice, right?
Yeah.
A time that you wouldn't would be like if they're casting Oust, which puts your card second from the top. So then you would want to leave your commander on top of your deck, maybe, because then you can draw and not have to pay that tax.
Yeah, exactly.
So random things like that. But then if you fetch and it gets shuffled in your library, you don't already have the choice to put it in the command zone. So it's weird situations like that where stuff like that comes up in games.
Another question, Slothy. Clear boxes at Walmart. There's been rumors going around that there's clear boxes that are plastic cased, cube shaped, that are small, and you can weigh them or something. And some contain not too good of cards with 2 booster packs on the end, not really revealing what's inside. and some might even hold a real commander deck worth a lot of money.
Mhm.
Are you seeing anything where you're at about this? Have you heard about this? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've actually bought a couple myself. I wouldn't say that it's worth it to buy them at Walmart because the chance of you getting a commander deck is so low. Every single one that I've gotten has been like a cheap half of a dual deck. So I wouldn't recommend buying them from Walmart if you can just go out and buy the deck yourself.
So every one that you bought has been nothing, right?
Correct.
Okay. What do you do now? This has been asked before on the podcast, but you were not a part of the podcast, so I just feel that it's just right to bring it up. What do you do when that one person always win in your play group?
When that one person is just constantly winning, some things that I like to do is maybe suggest playing different decks, or maybe doing like a two-headed giant thing where you have to be more reliant on your teammate, just so that it does shake it up a bit, so you don't get frustrated losing to the guy who's playing turn one wins every other game.
Yeah. So CEDH isn't fun at the kitchen table, is what you're telling me? If you're not playing CEDH?
Yeah, you definitely just need to make sure that your pod is okay with playing CEDH, because there's a deck that I have it's Godo Bandit Warlord. It's very, very fast. I always want to make sure that the table is okay with that, because I've been on the receiving end of that, and it's not very fun to have somebody just absolutely stomp you every single game and not have a chance to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
All right, Slothy, you've got some news for us.
I do. The Commander metagame has been all over the place for the last week. It started out pretty similar to how it was last week with Tymna, Crom, and Thrasios. And then I go and I'm looking every day, and it's changing a little bit. And now Thrasios is down from third place into fifth, and Rograk, son of Roga, is in first. And I was trying to rack my brain thinking of how this commander could be over like Tymna, Thrasios, Crom. But it is very, very strong, especially with Kelith, I've found, because you can play Rograk turn one. Sometimes you can even get Kelith out as well. And then whenever you attack, you'll put a 1/1 on Rograk, and then he'll get very big and then play Voltron-y. And it seems like a very, very fun deck. They're running a lot of artifacts, equipments.
Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Basically a Voltron commander deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And this one, it seems to be staying number one right now?
For the time being, yeah, but this week has just been so crazy with what's on top that I don't know what's going to be tomorrow. Like tomorrow could be like Anawan could be number one, or Essior or Crom, Tymna.
Mm-hmm.
They're all so close.
Before we got into the studio today, I know me and you got together and talked a little commander, and we talked shop. I pointed out you pointed this out, right? I said that's going to have to be talked about on the podcast. And when I looked at it, you're right. A couple of days ago, even it keeps changing. And I wanted to let the listeners know that the meta for standard, we're not going to report on it right now, or modern, or historic, or pauper, or any of the other formats this week, because you got to remember there's the MPL going on in the Rivals League, and once these finish, you're going to see that stabilize in the meta. Mm-hmm. And I hope a lot of listeners understand that, and we'll be happy to report top decks next week. This is going to be the last part of the show, the beginner's corner. Okay, the last segment of today's podcast, and it's going to be about what really are the top decks that we generally see at a competitive level, and like combo, mid-range. I want to go ahead and take it back a couple steps, because we got to remember there's beginners for beginner's corner. Who wants to take this reins right here? Who wants to take the reins?
I'll take the reins real fast. So we're going to start it with aggro decks because I feel like they're probably the most easy to understand of all the decks. Now, an aggro deck, what it wants to do is it wants to just pump out creatures as quickly as possible, and just do as much damage to your opponent as they possibly can quickly before your opponent has a chance to have their board state be stabilized, where they can block and do what they need to do to help protect themselves to win. So you're just trying to get in fast, get in hard. You're going to remove their creatures when they play them. You're just going to keep on swinging. Aggro is a very, very easy deck to play, and I find it fun. I like aggro decks.
Yeah. I play a lot of control decks or spells that you generally play more than creatures, and you kind of control the game early game, and then later game you have more spells than your opponent that you can just take over later game. For instance, I'm doing one where it's Wrath of God, just a whole bunch of that effect, and I'm drawing cards. You put that with Teferi's tutelage, it just makes sense. It's a basic concept. It's I take blue-white control back in the day with Callblade when Callblade was around, as an example. I look at blue-white control as the epitome of control, really. And I know there's a lot of people that want to fight me on that. But, when I take back control, there's a lot of blue going on because blue primarily is that color. Don't get me wrong. You got black control, blue control, stuff like that, which steps outside the pie chain, right? The pie color, the pie chart. But you have, okay, I'm really struggling here on control. You pretty much control the early games and neutralize the threats, and then take over late game.
So basically, if my aggro deck was going against John's control deck, as I'm pumping out creatures, he's just constantly using like board sweeps, the spells that kill all creatures on the board. He's constantly doing that, and he's trying to exhaust my hand of cards, so I have nothing to play, while he has cards that generate draw, so he can keep drawing cards, and he has a handful. I have nothing, so I'm just relying on what's coming up next on top of my deck.
Right.
That's how a control deck is going to win a game. They're controlling the pace and the tempo of the game until they get to the point where they can just take over.
Ooh, tempo's another deck too, right?
It fits in with control.
Well, tempo, I know tempo would be you want to always be like a +1, right? So like you play Curious, what was it? Curious Obsession or something? That new one from Ixalan?
Curiosity and Curious Obsession.
Yeah. Curious Obsession, yeah. Where you attack with it every turn. If you do, you draw a card. If you don't, you sacrifice it. It only costs 1 blue. That's tempo, in my opinion. With the Merfolk, the one that comes out as Flash, and then you get
Brian Born Cutthroat.
Yeah, Cutthroat. I would consider that more a tempo, right?
And same thing with Brazen Borrowers. You flash it, and you return a permanent to its controller's hand. So you're controlling the tempo of the match.
Yeah, tempo. Yeah, tempo would be a deck too. Another one would be Midrange. Who wants to talk about Midrange?
I'll take Midrange. So with Midrange, what you want to do is you want to ramp out quick and then control the game very early on. But as you reach kind of that higher 6 or so mana point, you want to start playing big threats that can really pressure your opponent, and it's very, very swingy, I find. You're just kind of swinging back and forth, especially if you're against another mid-range or aggro. And there's things like Jund is a very popular one, kind of like with every format, because it's Jund.
Chief, do you want to cover combo?
Yeah, I could try and cover combo. With combo, a player is trying to assemble between 2 and 4 cards generally. Cards that by themselves are not very good, but combined with these other cards together, they are able to gain a tremendous amount of advantage or ending the game. One simple combo would be Splinter Twin and Deceiver Exarch, where individually, one is a flash 1/4 that taps down a land, essentially. Not very good on its own. And the other one is a creature gains tap, make a copy of itself. And it's a little bit of mid-range-esque advantage generally, but when you combine those two together, you can use Deceiver's Exarch's ability to untap itself, the original copy with the Splinter Twin on it, and you can make infinite amount of creatures. And so you've assembled this combo. So you play around a deck trying to establish whatever combo you are running to be able to use that as a win con or an insane amount of advantage that your opponent is not able to overcome in a quick enough time.
One of my favorite kind of decks, by the way, is combo. Did we cover all of them? We got aggro, mid-range, combo, control, tempo. Did we miss anything?
Could I just add something onto combo there?
Yeah.
Another very, very good one is between Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker and Vizier of Tumbling Sands. So with Kiki Jiki, he's a 2/2 legendary Goblin Shaman for 3 red and 2 generic. He's got haste, and you can tap him to put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. It's got haste, and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And then with Vizier of Tumbling Sands, costs 2 and a blue. He's a 1/3. But you can tap him to untap target permanent or another target permanent. So you can just create infinite Vizier of Tumbling Sands, keep untapping all of your stuff, and then just totally demolish everybody with that.
You know what? There's also mill decks too.
Well, there's a lot of combos out there.
I'm saying as like its own general, like, class of deck. Would you consider mill to be its own class of deck? Because that has a different win condition.
Yeah, so mill would be one, and that's where you just take cards from some player's library and put them into the graveyard. And when they cannot draw a card, they lose the game because that's in the rules. If you cannot draw a card when you're supposed to, you lose the game. So mill from the card Millstone. Yeah, I play mill a lot. That would be a deck type.
Another strategy with mill is self mill, where you play things like Laboratory Maniac, Jace Wielder, Mysteries, and you just mill yourself, because with those cards, if you run out of cards in your library, you win the game. And it's very, very easy to completely deck yourself with something like Demonic Consultation and then Thassa's Oracle on top of it, to just instantly win with mill.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and let the listeners go. But right before we do, just rightfully so, I want to remind everybody that we are partnered with Unstable Realms Gaming over on YouTube and the Facebook group Magic the Gathering Players. Check us out over on Facebook with the Discord going on. You'll see me over there quite frequently. And they've got spell table games going on. If you're looking for a commander game, modern, standard, just get on over there. You'll see me, a bunch of players. And I can't think of anything else. So until next time, keep spell slinging.